And it's a very good morning to the Gelding on yet another That's Racing. And we're back to Caulfield Gelding and the group racing is returning.
Good morning, Professor. Good morning, listeners. Yeah, it's kind of a bit of spring in the air, Professor. Good horses, excuse me, returning to Caulfield tomorrow, like a Melbourne Cup winner in Vow and Declare, kicking off its spring campaign. We've got the Group 2 PB Lawrence Stakes with Mr. Brightside, the Doncaster winner, resuming. And up against that, we've got the good 3-year-old races, Professor, Vane Stakes and Quizette. So I'll be paying a lot of attention to those 3-year-old races, Professor, because all of a sudden you get a lot of good horses. You know, you see how they come back from 2-year-olds, and if they start off well, they normally go on well during the spring. So there could be some horses out of this meeting tomorrow that we follow during the Spring Carnival down here in Victoria.
Yes, Gelding, they rail out 9 metres. People at the track won't want to stand very close to the fence because the horses might greet them. They'll be able to do a high five as they come down the straight.
Oh, Professor, you got to giggle sometimes. As I wrote to you, you know, just before we started, who knows what Caulfield's going to be tomorrow. Look, it's a good 4 rating at the moment. Out 9 metres, Professor. They'll be going down the railway. They'll be at Caulfield Railway Station, won't they, half of these horses? So, yeah, look, don't know what the track's going to do. With it out so far, I'd be looking for horses on pace. However, Professor, where I'm about 2 k's from the track, where it's awfully bleak and dark and rain's expected today and tomorrow, I suppose doing the show 24 hours out, you know, that's going to be the unknown, is the weather. And, of course, with the rail out that far, if it rains and they race on it, will it get chopped up and will they come down the outside? Who knows in the later races. Yeah. But I'll be looking for on-pace horses today.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to go early, Gelding, with my selections. Group racing returns, Gelding, 2 Group 3s and a Group 2. And the Group 2, as you said, the weight for age PB Lawrence Stakes, formerly known as the JJ Liston Stakes, and formerly run at Flemington. So it's had a stand down, so it's had a name change and venue change.
What did JJ Liston do wrong to have the race taken off him? Peter Lawrence, of course, was a recent chairman of the Melbourne Racing Club. But JJ Liston, you know, history goes back to the 30s and all that. So, yeah, I remember this race being at Sandown, Professor, and, you know, a good start and to the meeting. But, oh, well, I was going to say racing committees know best, or I just say racing committee changes things.
I think racing committees change things, Gelding. I think that's what...
Yeah. For the sake of change or for the better?
Let's just say things change.
Things change. Okay. We'll leave it there, Professor.
Well, getting rid of a bakery was probably a good change.
Oh, you make me laugh, Professor.
All right, Gelding.
Wouldn't we like a racing club to actually concentrate on their core business? Like, you know, they'll get rid of Sandown. No matter what crap they're saying, they're going to get rid of Sandown eventually, and that and probably lose one of the best assets they've got. But, you know, that's racing committees for you, Professor. I'm sure they'll enjoy their luncheon tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm sure they will, Gelding. All right.
That we pay for.
Let's get on to the tips. What are your 2 best bets for this race meeting?
Well, Professor, you're going earlier in the day. I'm going kind of mid to late. I'm going in the Vane Stakes, the 3-year-old Group 3 race for Colts and Geldings. Look, we've been on this one before, Professor. Alpha One. This campaign, it's won 3 in a row. We've been on it. Snowdens are bringing it down here. Damian Lane's aboard. You know how we like following horses that continue to win, Professor. They form a good habit. It won well at Moonee Valley. 1100 at Caulfield may be a bit different than the 955 at Moonee Valley, but let's hope Damian Lane's got a good jump on them coming around the turn, and it can hold on, Professor. But look, I might be having a saver on Throng Bone that we backed at Caulfield the other day. I also like Mullane, and you've got the Hawks and Freeman's both got the toppies, and one down the bottom, Spacewalk, and from James Cummings. So, look, a hard race, Professor, but I'm sticking with a horse we've backed before, in form, round Caulfield, hopefully can lead, get a jump on them down the straight, and hopefully the inside's not off by that time of the day, Professor. My second tip is in the main race, the PB Lawrence, formerly the JJ Liston. Professor going the complete opposite, going for a horse that is returning, a class horse probably of the field, in Mr. Brightside, trained by the Hayes brothers and ridden by Craig Williams. Williams in great form. This horse hasn't won first up, Professor, but it's a horse that we've followed throughout its career, and it's been very good to us. It has run second, has been placed first up. I just think this is the class horse of the field. It has bigger options coming later on in the season. The Hazes are talking about it being a possible Cox Plate horse. So over 1,400 first up, if you got those aims, you'd want to be winning it. Last start won the Doncaster handicap. Had a low weight, but did fantastically. 2 starts before that, it ran 4th to Zaki, Professor, in the All-Star Mile. That's fantastic weight for age form, I would have thought. So, look, happy to take round about the $3.50 for Mr. Brightside. You may get a bit more, tomorrow, as it lengthens out. But, look, this is a horse that can handle good track and wet track. So we're going with the class factor with Mr. Brightside. Your two, Professor?
Yes, Gelding, I'm going a little bit earlier than you. In race 1, it's an open race over 1,600 metres, and I like in that race horse 7, Jimmy the Bear. Jimmy the Bear coming out of barrier 6. It's had 9 starts for 5 wins and 2 placings, so a 56% win rate, 78% place rate, Gelding. So it ticks a couple of our filters there.
Yep.
It's won 3 out of its last 4, so it's in very good form. And its last start, it won over the distance at Moonee Valley, so very impressive. Showing $3.10 on the tote at the moment, Gelding. So very good for each way betters, and I think it'll start a little bit shorter than that. The threat in this race, Chief Altoni, horse 6.
Yes, Professor, and a Melbourne Cup winner in Vow and Declare making its return in that race, and Charlie Rose coming back from an injury in last year's Melbourne Cup. So, you've got some horses here. This may be the race where the late form is probably better than the horses resuming, and no one in better form than Patrick Payne and Billy Egan when they're combining, Professor. And we saluted with Jimmy the Bear last time for our listeners. So nothing wrong with sticking with something that's already won you some money, Professor.
Well, that's right, Gelding, and you make the good point about Egan. He's in career form. For his career, he's got an 11% win rate, but over his last 50, 16%, Gelding. So
yeah,
he's performing very, very well.
And your next one, Professor?
Yeah, my next one's in race 3, Gelding. Benchmark 90 over 1,100 metres. Horse 3, Hellfest. Coming out of barrier 3, had 5 starts for 3 wins. So it's got the 60% win and place rate. resuming after a spell. It won a Group 3 at Moonee Valley, the Typhoon Tracy Stakes, and Typhoon Tracy was a wonderful horse. It beat Champagne Dreams in a photo, Gelding, and Champagne Dreams since then has run in the Group 1 Sangster Stakes at Morfettville. So it beat a fairly classy horse. It's showing $5 at the moment on the tape, Gelding $2.40 the place. So for each way betters, terrific value there. Jamie Carr in the saddle. She's in career form with a 22% win rate over the last 50. And James Cummings, the Blue Army. Look, as you quite rightly say, very often on this program, Gelding, they place their horses so that they have the best chance. And I like Hellfast in this race.
Oh, Professor, I like it. Look at the tough race 3. Plenty of chances with Bless Her. She's all class, little Stevie. But as you said, the Blue Army we've followed. Jamie Carr, leading jockey on board. Small field is going to be close by. And as you said, just placed beautifully in a benchmark 90 and some beautiful odds each way, Professor, at the $5.
Yeah, I think so, Gelding.
Yeah.
The Professor's Parlay?
Yes. Oh, how stiff was it last week, Professor?
The almost successful Professor's Parlay.
Can I give you some news on that, Professor?
Yes, please do.
I'm reading, for the listeners, we had Fire, which was going to be our main bet. And of course, Fire went down by a short half head, Professor. But during the week, I like to revisit the bets just in case we can learn something from it. And I noticed the fastest 200 of the day last week in 11.84 seconds was Chain of Lightning. Now, we had Fire, was running all over the place. If it had kept a straight line, it would have won. If this Chain of Lightning had run the second fastest 200 of the day, Professor, the parlay gets up.
Well, and what really rubbed salt into the wounds, Gelding, was 3 or 4 weeks ago, Chain of Lightning was one of my selections, and it didn't get up. I went a little bit too early on it.
You can't sack him after one run, Professor. You got to be a little bit more forgiving, maybe. And just say, that's racing.
That's racing. That's right, Gelding. All right, well, the Professor's Parlay, we're going race 1, horse 7, Jimmy the Bear.
Yes.
What a name. And let's parlay that into the Western Bulldogs to beat Greater Western Sydney. The Bulldogs can't afford to lose if they're going to make the finals, Gelding. And Toby Green's out at Greater Western Sydney. So there goes the forward line. And so I think the Bulldogs being hard to beat at Marvel, they're a pretty good selection at $1.17.
Yeah, I like it.
That into Geelong ladder leaders to beat the Gold Coast. The Gold Coast can't make finals. They're 10 points out with only 2 games to go. So the season's really over for them. And Geelong need to win to hold on to top spot. So at $1.25, I think that's pretty good odds up north, Gelding. And I don't think Geelong will let this one go. The parlay showing 9-2, Gelding.
Oh, I like it. I like it. Like it, Professor. 4.5 to 1 for those that are not in there. And Professor, you're getting away from the showers in Melbourne.
Yes,
Gelding. In Melbourne.
Yes, Gelding heading off to Sydney with the Princess from Traralgon to watch her beloved Magpies take on the Sydney Swans. So my first trip interstate for quite some considerable time, and I'm looking forward to it.
Professor, I think you're going up to see a very, very good game of footy. Both sides in great form at the moment.
Yeah, certainly plenty to look forward to, Gelding. And because I'll be away, there's no Sportsfan radio this Sunday. So everybody's, the judge, Delegan, Cooter, yourself, we're all taking a week off, and we'll come back refreshed the week after.
Certainly will, Professor.
All right. Well, until next Saturday, Gelding, it's good luck.
And good punting.